What's up, y'all? It's Ty in this video. Today, we're going to be going over, taking a look at each and every 100 overall, each and every dark matter that is in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM, and ranking them from S tier all the way down through F tier. Now, a lot of these cards are extremely good, but we also have some cards that are extremely bad. So if you're a big baller wondering who to pick up for your squad, this video is for you. And even if you can't afford these cards, like myself, and you want to know who should you worry about playing against, this video is for you as well. Let's start off with Hidden Gems Michael Jordan. This card is not good. We'll get to some decent MJs, but the Hidden Gems MJ is just, I don't even know why it's a card, honestly. Like, this Hidden MJ is really poor. Not a card that's really worth looking at whatsoever. F tier for the Hidden Gems Michael Jordan. Base Dwayne Wade, D tier. I mean, the problem with base Dwayne Wade is his release isn't sped up. When you look at the Pro Pass D Wade, he still plays great defense. Both D-Wades play great defense. The difference is Pro Pass D-Wade has his release on very quick compared to the other D-Wade having his release on normal. You wouldn't think that would be that big of a deal, but it is. You know, it is a pretty big deal on this game. So I think I got to go, D tier and C tier respectfully for Dwayne Wade too. He had his time. He was basically, the season pass reward of last season, which, came out 2 months ago at this stage. So you can't expect D-Wade to be that elite at this stage. This MJ, D tier, like, not good still. And the thing about it is, like, MJ, I don't love any of his cards. Obviously, the 100 overall sees a change release. The 100 overall is extremely good. But, like, throughout this game, I really have not loved MJ cards whatsoever. Shaquille O'Neal up next. I don't love Shaq either, and I know people are going to get on me. People are going to be like, Ty, you don't know ball. I'm telling you, I've played against this Shaq sometimes, and I don't see it with him. I don't. I know his player build is good. I know his player build's ridiculous, but it's like he can't really shoot that effectively, so what is he really giving you on the floor? I don't know. I'm going D tier. Finally, a good card, Dark Matter Dr. J. Is he A tier or is he S tier? I think at this stage, A tier is probably the right tier for Dr. J. And I know people are going to get mad at me, but hear me out. We've got some really good cards that are going to be coming up here. He might end up being at S tier. We'll have to see. But the problem is his release didn't get sped up, so it's hard for me to, gas him to that S tier right now. Dark Matter KG at this stage, D tier. Again, not a bad card. And maybe you could go C tier. I think the problem I have with KG is it's just like that release is pretty poor, and I don't like saying that because I like the card, but when the release is not as, not that good, it's tough to hype him up. James Harden up next, one of my favorite point guards in this game, 6'5", get you stops. Is he A tier or B tier? I think right now I gotta go B tier, but I do like James Harden, and trust me when I say he might end up being at A tier. I like the card enough to maybe eventually put him at that A tier. Next up, Scottie Pippen. Release is actually, I think, pretty good. Plays solid defense. Problem is, if Dr. J is going to be at A tier, we've got to put Scottie Pippen at B tier. And I like Scottie Pippen. I think Scottie Pippen's good. I think the card's fantastic. I'm just saying, he's not as good as Julius Erving. Hakeem Olajuwon up next. Here's where things get really difficult. Is Hakeem A tier or is he S tier? I think right now I'm going to put him at A tier. But it's close. Like, he's close to being S tier. Hakeem is the real deal on this game. I'll put him at that A tier. Austin Reeves, B tier. I think he's fine. I think B tier is the right tier for him. And honestly, if Austin Reeves is going to be B tier, I think I might have to move James Harden to A tier because I like James Harden more than Austin Reeves. And so that's the tough part for me is, when I'm ranking cards, it's tough because I put Scottie Pippen at B tier because I like Dr. J more, even though I love Scottie Pippen. So it really does get tough. Base B-Roy, I'm going to put at B tier. Pro Pass B-Roy, I honestly don't think there's that much of a difference, but I think I've got to put him at A tier because of the slight difference. Again, if you're running base B-Roy, he's fine. Don't think you need to buy the better B-Roy. He's fine. Both B-Roys are really solid. I just think that Pro Pass is very slightly better in A tier. 100 overall, Michael Jordan is right now your best point guard in the game. I think, I think he's better than Luka. I think he's better than, any other point guard. The problem is, price-wise, he's just crazily overpriced. Like, MJ is good, but he is way too overpriced to really get that much respect from me on this game. And again, I'm not hating on Michael Jordan, but I'm saying if you're talking about the best of the best, Again, it's Luka Doncic, I'm saying it. But if you're talking about the best of the best, MJ's good. I just don't think he's worth his price. So that's the tough part. 100 overall Shaq, S tier. And it's going to be kind of that way. You know, I don't like gassing these cards at S tier, but I'm a realist. You know, like, I'm not DBG level where I put Khalil Ware on the same level as Shaq, right? I'm not going to do that. But I do think Shaq is overpriced. His release to me when I used him in my gameplay, it was good, but I think it would be tough to consistently green because of the low release point. I don't know. I feel like if you get the hang of it, it would be fine, but that's just kind of one thing I noticed when I did my gameplay with Shaq is that I didn't personally green consistently with the card. Vince Carter up next. He's got mixed reviews in the community. You know, for being 100 overall, everybody really likes MJ. Everybody really likes Shaq. Everybody really likes a lot of the, 100 overalls. Vince has mixed reviews. I still do think he's an A tier caliber shooting guard. I still think Vince is good. But a lot of people that got Vince don't love the card. And so that's kind of the tough part about it is it's like, where do I put Vince? I don't know. I still think because he's 100 overall and what he provides, you got to go A tier. But some people that have Vince really do not like the card. So I'm just being honest with you. KP, S tier. Honestly, I think KP is just as good as Shaq. I'm not saying, release-wise he's going to be maybe as good. But remember, KP is 7-2. I feel like his release is going to be maybe easier to green than Shaq's. And again, he's 100 overall. He's going to be a perfect card. S tier for Mr. Kristaps Porzingis. Remember, since this is a Dark Matter 100 overall, we will not be ranking Victor Wembanyama. Steph Curry, F tier. I'm sorry, you're just too undersized. I do think you can create some shots with Steph, but he's just too undersized to play on this game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the best point guard. I think I got to do this. No, I'm putting Shai at S tier. I don't care. I think Shai is almost as good as Michael Jordan. I do. And you guys can say I'm gassing Shai, but he is the real deal on this game. He is. Trust me when I tell you guys that. I'm putting Shai at S tier. A lot of people are going to, disagree, get mad at me. Oh, you can't have him at the same tier as MJ. Well, guess what I did, okay? I love Shai on this game. I think he is just nearly as good as Michael Jordan. Kevin Durant, I'm going to go C tier. And look, I don't think KD is horrible. I just think the card is massively overrated. His release is not super quick. I mean, I guess he plays great defense and has good height at that small forward position, but it just pains me to see what people are paying for KD and me just thinking the card is way overpriced. It just pains me. So I don't hate KD, but I personally do have the card at C tier. Ultimately, LeBron James up next, S tier, the best small forward on the game. I don't think it's really up for debate. Release goes to very quick, gets every badge in the game. I mean, is he 100 overall? No, but he basically is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he basically is a 100 overall type card. Jokic up next, not bad. C tier, I think, is probably where he belongs. You might be able to argue B tier with Jokic. I'm going to go C tier. And he might get moved up to B tier. I don't think Jokic is bad. It's just tough with some of the other cards we're having. Jalen Brunson, F tier. Donovan Mitchell's not bad. I'm going to go B tier. Honestly, I think this Donovan Mitchell is just as good as Austin Reeves. I do, and I think, compared to Dwayne Wade, he's better. He has a better release. Movement's better. Honestly, you could argue this Spider at A tier, in my opinion. I think Donovan Mitchell is really good. If he's your point guard, you've got a really good point guard in this game. Jason Tatum, I've got Jason Tatum. He's not great. I'm going to go C tier. So for all you guys that are like, oh, Ty, you just hate on KD. No, Jason Tatum is on my team, and he's at C tier. So I don't hate the card. It's just he's not in elite level. Giannis Antetokounmpo, S tier. Release goes to very quick. Player model, elite. Yeah, I mean, he is one of your best dark matters in the game. He is S tier. People are going to be like, what? He is not 100 overall level. At the small forward position, if that's where you're running Giannis, he is absolutely elite. Cat, F tier. And it pains me to put Cat at F tier, but he is. I mean, his release is literally broken on this game. He doesn't do enough other things on the court to be really talked up upon. Hey, he's F tier. Luka Doncic, interesting card here. He's an interesting card. They hold his SIGs a little bit, but at the end of the day, he's a 6'7". Hear me out. He's a 6'7" point guard that defensively is going to be maxed. Release-wise is okay. Luka, release-wise is solid. I'm not even going to say okay. Luka is S tier. I'm not saying he's better than MJ because he's not, but he is an S tier point guard on this game. There really is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Luka Doncic, S tier. Magic Johnson. Interesting card because you got to go A tier with Magic. I don't personally love Magic. I don't personally run Magic just because he doesn't fit what I do. But you've got to go A tier for Magic Johnson as just a complete point guard, right? Like, he's going to play incredible defense. He's 6'9". You've got to go A tier for the card. Larry Legend, I'm going to go D tier. I mean, honestly, Larry's release is kind of slow. It's kind of beta, but I will say I think it's hard to contest. He jumped so high on it, I feel like sometimes it's hard to contest. Larry's not great. He's going to go D tier, though. Joel Embiid up next. Here's where things get difficult. Because I like Hakeem more than Embiid, but Embiid has to go at A tier. He has to. Like, you have to have Embiid at least at A tier. If you don't, you're doing this tier list a disservice. Embiid, I just wish he didn't have that set shot type of release. Gary Payton up next, and this one is painful, man. This one's, I'm doing it. I'm moving SGA down because I can't have Gary and you know what? I'm doing something crazy. I'm doing something crazy because I can't have Gary and Shea at the same tier as these 100 overalls, and I can't have Shea at a different tier than Gary, but I can't have Gary at the same tier as these guys. You could maybe argue Magic this level, and I'm going to. But I like this a little bit more. I do. Because, I mean, if you're cheesy with Magic, he is probably A tier. Although I don't like Magic, I like where this tier list lies just that little bit more. Jalen Green, not bad, not great. I mean, I guess you can go B tier. I just don't love the card, but I think B tier is where he belongs. DeRozan is a trash can on this game. F tier, he stinks. LaMelo Ball, I'm going to go B tier. I don't see the A tier caliber with LaMelo. I know his height's good. I know he's going to play a lot of defense. But as far as like release-wise, as far as defense-wise, I don't think he gives you a whole ton B tier. Chet up next, a stud. And here's where things get difficult because I'm going to put him in that A tier. The hard part for me is I don't think Shaq and KP can really be compared to the guys at A tier. It's similar to the point guard position with Luka, MJ. It's tough. We don't really have that stud small forward yet, 100 overall, so that's why Giannis and Bron can hold it down there. But it's where it's got to be right now. Lamar Odom, not great. Not great at all. I think I've got to go C tier. If Jason Tatum, KD are C tier, Lamar Odom's going to go C tier. BI, I actually don't think BI is bad. I've never used the card. I've never played against the card. So if I'm off on this ranking, you can tell me. But for now, I'm going to have him at C tier. I just think I'd prefer Scottie Pippen. It's really that simple, that easy. So for me, I am going to throw him at that C tier. Sean Kemp, B tier. But then it's like, is he better than these guys? I don't know. I need to fill that small forward position in at B tier because the problem is I don't have a small forward at B tier or A tier. Okay. And so, you know, I am going to have to move some cards up. Although I don't really want to, I think all of these cards deserve to be at B tier. Because I like them more than Lamar Odom. But if that's the case, then I got to move Jokic up. And if that's the case, I got to move KG up. You know, because like I got to have some balance here, right? And so I think I like this slightly more, a little bit more. The only thing I'm thinking is, like, I think Scottie Pippen is better than these guys. I do. But I'm going to leave it now because I think it's fine. But I'm all over with this tier list right now. Ron Artest, I like the card, but I got to be honest with you. The release of this Ron Artest leaves something to be desired. I am putting him at A tier because I think defensively he's probably the best small forward in the game. But I'm telling you, I don't know if I love that new release over the old release. I'm just being honest with you guys. The new release kind of looks weird to me. J.R. Smith up next. I just don't think the card's great. He is 6'6", so I will throw him at B tier, but I do not think J.R. Smith is that good. D-Rose stinks, D tier. I do not love what Derrick Rose provides. Kareem, S tier. He is a card that can compete with the Shaqs and the KPs. He's better than Hakeem. He's better than Chet. He's better than Joel Embiid. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is in that S tier. Ray Allen stinks. D tier. The card is nearly unplayable, unusable on this game. Last but certainly not least, Michael Porter Jr. I have not used the card, so I'm just going to throw him in B tier. I've not played against him, have not used him, so it's tough for me to rank him, but I am going to throw him ultimately at that B tier. So let's break down this tier list, and let's look at it, right? Point guard position, I think, is good. Shooting guard position, honestly, like, I'm taking Luka and that MJ at the shooting guard position over anybody that I do have at A tier. I don't mind it, though. Like, if there was somebody I'd move, I'm doing it. I'm moving Dr. J up. Dr. J, in my opinion, is the best and most complete shooting guard here at the A tier. So that's what I'm doing. Again, I have to move Dr. J up. Small forwards, again, we don't really have an A tier small forward, but I'm fine with it because I think Giannis and LeBron James are head and shoulders above any other dark matter and a 100 overall card we have. As far as the big man position, I like it as well. I like this tier list. I do. You guys can let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, man, I love you guys. And have a blessed day.